Hi, I'm Tanay. I am founder of Invact. Invact is a company which is building metaversity, bringing metaverse and education together to make sure that the masses have college experience at lowest cost possible.
This is the story of the near death experience of a startup and a founder who never gave up. When the edtech startup Invact first got funded, it was in the news for all the right reasons. Tech geek and social influencer Tanay Pratap had got the former head of Twitter India as his co founder in Invact. But soon the headlines turned negative as the founders did not agree on the way forward and there were rumors about the startup shutting down. But Tanay is not a quitter, and in this conversation with Akshay Dutt, he talks about his amazing journey of overcoming odds multiple times, be it getting a job with Microsoft and building the Microsoft Teams product, or in the way Invact is disrupting how we are preparing the next generation of meaningful employment. Invact is a truly original edtech platform that aims to help millions of young Indians who live in tier 2, 3, and 4 towns and have almost no access to affordable quality education. Stay tuned and subscribe to the Founder Thesis podcast on any audio streaming platform to learn from founders who have overcome adversity to thrive.
So when I was in college, so my sister was my first student. Then when I went to college, first year again, I saw teachers are not teaching really well. There's a long gap between what's being taught in the industry and what's being taught in the college and what's there in the industry, right? So I figured out a few things myself. Let's learn Photoshop. Let's learn Java. Or I have this, since my young age, I have this tendency to self-learn and then teach. So जैसे ही self-learn होता है, I feel like, अरे परेशान है, don't worry. No, come to my class. So I would take classes in evenings, right? So there itself that Tanay Bhaiya thing had happened. And then when I came into my job, I started going back to colleges, different colleges, not just my college. I have toured, I think, all the South India. Like you name a top college, I have been there. I have taught kids there.
So was it like you reached out to them, or they like the students would invite you, or like how did that happen?
So both ways, but I was not famous on social media at that time. So what I used to do is I would just call any college and I say, hey, I am this person. I'm working at Cisco. I'm working at Cypress, Microsoft, whichever company I am at. And generally, these are like really good brand names. And I say, hey, I want to come and talk to your students because I did not get a lot of senior induction guidance when I was at college. So I think this is lacking. And they would like, yeah, sir, aaiye. And they would give like very nice cups and wo mementos and all. And HOD photo khichate the. These are the same HODs I would not even get to sit across. Like when you're a student, but when you're giving back, you're a celebrity that moment itself. So that happened, and this is 2014 when people didn't have internet like today, right? Like today, everyone has internet. Then in 2019, I decided enough offline, let's get online. So I created a video and I posted it on Instagram, and I said, hey, if you're genuinely interested, I'm here to help. And that just went viral. Even now, one of my videos just went viral and I'm getting like thousands of followers every day. And that time also it happened. And I got like thousands of followers. I got 27,000 followers in 3 to 4 days.
Wow.
And then
this video was just like a statement that I'm here for you. That's it. You were not giving any gyan in that.
No, that video was, I'll show the video to you. That video just said that, hey, and this is a genuine problem which I had, right? That I came from a lower middle class family. And I had huge expectations from my college, and I went to a great college with a good brand name and with lakhs of fees. And my parents had to take loan for it. And every moment I spent there, I was regretting this decision that my parents' hard-earned money is getting wasted. And this is the exact thing I just said, that I know this pain because I have been through it. And I have taught myself how to get into great companies, how to succeed in life. And I'm going to teach that to you, and don't worry about anything else. Just come to the page and we'll talk. And we used to do these live sessions, Instagram lives, and people would come and they just connected. I think the Tanay Bhaiya thing just worked with everyone very, very nicely.
And what were those Instagram live sessions about? Was it technical stuff or was it general career
All
guidance?
sorts of stuff, technical stuff, general career guidance. Friends se breakup ho gaya, kya kare? People would come on live, they would play guitar, everyone would listen. So just chilling out with an elder brother, wherein you were not getting judged, but you will be made fun of. So I had this very strong persona कि भाई मजाक तोड़ाऊंगा मैं बड़ा भाई हूँ. Right, I'll make fun of you. So that's what we used to do. Even now, we like my wife went for a family trip a few days back, and I was free, so I went live after a very long time because this entrepreneurial journey and things which we just went through, it was not letting me do that. So I went live and I was singing just songs ki yaad aa rahi hai, teri yaad aa rahi hai. I was like, "Yare." And they started, then they went to Twitter and they tagged my wife and then they told, "Bhabhi, aap thode din udhar hi raho. Bhaiya milte hain." So just that, I think that just connects to a lot of students that I came from the same background, didn't go to the top tier colleges, still made a decent enough lives. And I have the mantras of repeatable success. And when someone talks to me, I can give them the advice which would suit them instead of just saying, wake up at 5 a.m., 5 a.m. club. Aisa nahi karna hai. So that's what works.
Amazing. On the personal side, you were building your skills as a content creator or an influencer. What about on the job side? What kind of skills were you building there?
Actually, on a personal side, I was not building any skill. I was just being myself on internet, and the internet loved my persona. Because if you see my videos on YouTube or older videos on Instagram, those are the worst videos. Like all the tips and tricks for shooting a video, I didn't follow. Like now the light is on my face, so you can see me light, but there was no light earlier. There was no mic. There was no AirPod. I just talked to people with my phone or my MacBook laptop. So there was no learning. It was just being. On the professional side, I was very serious about it. And I have been very serious about my profession for a very long time. This chip on the shoulder that I've come from a background where I did not get the best of the opportunity. So I have to make my own luck. So being there, and also the other responsibility, which I feel very strongly, is being bhaiya. When you are an elder brother, you have to be a role model in every sense possible. You need to look fit. You need to behave well. You need to eat right. You need to take care of your well-being and your personal financial goals and everything else. So I went to Microsoft 2017. Then I keep climbing the ladder there as well. Got 2 promotions, got multiple awards. So I think all in all,
you were writing code. Is it like what we doing?
Writing code, yeah. So Microsoft Teams, if you have used Microsoft Teams, I think most of it is like code is written by me actually. The framework is mine, yeah. So I know tech really well. I don't want to say this myself, but I'm like a tech genius. It sounds very wrong, but it is true that the metaversity also with building is a tech masterpiece. And when I show it to people in Valley and Europe, and they say, "Oh my God, I can't believe in India, in Bangalore, this kind of product is being built and this level of sophisticated engineering is happening." But that's who I have been all my life. Even during growing years, I was that person who would code a lot. Like when I was 13-year-old, 12-year-old, I was winning the Olympiads, those championships and things like that. So being a programmer early, very early, but then figured out balance in life as well.
So what made you want to quit your Microsoft job? I'm sure it must have been a very well-paying job. Tell me that trigger to entrepreneurship.
Very well-paying job. Yeah, that was the job. Microsoft shares and everything. When you get so much of promotions and everything, you get a lot of money. So it was a very hard decision. And also I loved my job. Like people who know me from before, they know how hard the decision was because I just loved being at Microsoft. And many a times I got offers from Google and Facebook and I was like, no. I just love Microsoft and the culture there. But then also I measured my life. At one point of time, I think when the COVID came, I started reading a lot about karma yoga, about purpose of life, meaning of life, and Sankhya Darshan and whatnot. So I read a lot about
Sankhya Darshan.
Sankhya Darshan is basically talking about, it's a philosophical thought as in why you have come into being and what's the purpose of life. So there are different school of thoughts, even in Hindu. Like when you say Hindu, it's a very broad thing. Even in Hindu, you have karma yoga, you have Gita's version of karma yoga, you have different versions of. So all of that is there. So I read a lot because at one point of time, what happened was I understood the game at Microsoft. I can play this game forever. I can keep climbing up the stairs and I can keep making more money. And where I came from now, like, when I was in school, my dream job would be that if I get 50,000 rupees per month, I would be the happiest person in the world. That was that Santosh. And my first job was 12 lakh rupees a year. So 2x first.
Incidentally, how did you crack a 12 lakh rupees job from a tier 2 college?
I was very good. There were only 2 people who got selected. I was one of them. So I have been really good, actually. There are other stories also, like Microsoft hires only people who do data structures and algorithms very well, the competitive coding piece. And I told Microsoft that I'm really good and I will not give a DSA interview. And they said, if you are really good and if you prove that we will not take a DSA interview, then not take a DSA interview for me. So I still don't know DSA, which is like bread and butter for these big companies. So I was that good. So then when I went into Microsoft, I realized, boss, बहुत ही repeatable game. And like after every level you kill, the boss is basically a promotion. You realize it's not hard anymore. And then I started reading all of this darshan and this philosophy. And I realized that it's not just the promotion game. It's the life is also a game which you're playing at different levels. And the end game is to get out of the game, right? Not to play the game. And that's my understanding of life. People have different interpretations. So then if you have to play the game, what would you maximize your life for, right? क्योंकि कुछ तो करना है. And by God's grace, you are intelligent, you are smart, आपको बहुत कुछ मिला है प्रकृति की तरफ से. The universe has given you a great personality, a great mind to do something. So then at that point of time, what had happened was I was teaching students. So I built a 300 people cohort, right? And these 300 people were from the worst background. Some of them did not even have laptop. Most of them were not from computer science background. And the overconfident me very nicely said, कि तुम कहीं से भी हो, तुम आ जाओ, like Krishna saying कि सब मुझ में आ जाओ, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, I'll take care of you. And I basically told everyone, just come to my course and I'll take care of you. I'll get you a job. And
this was during COVID, when students were losing offers, left incentives.
Yes, exactly that time, 2020. And I said, just come to me and I'll solve all your problems. And they all came and we started a course and 300 people came in. And there are photos of this. I was so adamant in proving myself. I shaved off my head and I said, I will not grow my hair back until I get all of you placed. Right. So for all the COVID, I don't have hair. Like all my photos, all my videos, I hairless. Right. So then I worked very hard. I got all of them placed.
What were you like? What was happening in the cohort? Were you taking classes as such, teaching, or was it a support group? Or
this was proper classes. These are students who said, "Bhaiya, I can't code." I'm like, there is no such thing as you can't code. वो क्या होता है? Let me make you a super programmer. So I made them really good programmers. They are now in Indian unicorns. I very proudly say this, कि यार मतलब India के हर unicorn में मेरा एक बच्चा है. Like one of my kids is in every Indian unicorn today. So they went in and that basically put me on the map. Like earlier than this, students knew who Tanay Bhaiya was, and now suddenly everybody noticed super 30 moment हो रहा है, ये कौन आदमी है, मैं कहाँ से आया है. So that put me on the map. But just before this, when these students were getting placed, they used to call me and they would start crying because सोचो यार, जिसके पास 20,000 का लैपटॉप नहीं, someone who doesn't have a 20,000 laptop, उसको 20 lakhs का job लग जाए. It's unbelievable for that person. And I have been through that feeling myself. जब मेरी job लगी थी तो. I called my father and I said, I have got 12 lakh rupees का job. And my father was like, are you joking with me? इतना देता है क्या कोई किसी को? I mean, TCS was good enough, right? And my dad would not sleep for a few days. He was like, बेटा अगर नहीं देगा तो, नहीं पापा ऑफर लेटर है, क्यों नहीं देगा? और नहीं देगा तो दूसरे देंगे. मतलब, if the market is like that, someone would give them. So I know that feeling. But I got to relive that feeling again and again 100 times with my students. Everyone got placed. They called. They cried. I cried. We cried together. Their parents came on phone. They said such nice things. They had birthday cakes. इनका birthday हो रहा था, तो birthday पे भी तने भैया लिखा रहता था. Someone had a birthday. उसमें उसके पास एक टी-शर्ट, उसको टी-शर्ट गिफ्ट किया उसके दोस्त ने. तो टी-शर्ट में there is हनुमान, और हनुमान के चेहरे पे वो बच्चे का फोटो है. And then Hanuman is staring, that his chest, and तने भैया is inside. So that's the level of love and level of devotion which people had and the kind of change they had. Mechanical के बच्चे 15 लाख के जॉब में जा रहे हैं, 20 लाख के जॉब में जा रहे हैं. So I realized that, so these two happened parallelly, right? This outcome and the other where I was searching for a meaning of life. So I realized that I can make a lot more impact as a teacher than as an engineer here at Microsoft. And then I left my job.
When did this cohort get over?
So this cohort started in 2021 February and it got over in June, and then July placement started. And first 15-20 call, I knew that this is the high I want in my life, more and more. And this is the game I want to play next because this is an infinite game. And by the time August came, there were a few girls also who got placed. They called, I remember Anita, she called, she started crying. I cried with her. And she was like, भैया मैं ऐसी जगह से आती हूँ, मैं आपको बता भी नहीं सकती हूँ क्या हुआ है मेरी जिंदगी में. There was this girl, Ankita, वो इतना मस्त बोले कि now she's working in Razor, 5x of what her previous salary is. But it's not about salary. It's also about you changing someone's course. Life का पूरा course change हो जाता है when you change from place A to place B. So I realized I like this more and this is more challenging. And then I found the challenge if I can do it for 300, maybe I can do it for 1,000. But can I do it for everyone out there? Can I create enough for everyone? And I think this was a good challenge to challenge my genius and also energy. And I think that's why I just left my job and thought of doing something. And there were no plans to do Invact at that point of time. We talked that story, but that is the answer. Those two things basically coincided. And I decided that Microsoft is not the place to be anymore. And that moment when I left my job, lots of VCs reached out. Tanay, what are you doing next? And we want to talk. And this was first for me. I have never thought about VC funding or anything. I figured it out. Things work out generally for me and it just worked out again. So one VC reached out, I talked to her. And after talking to her, I said, Kate, tell me, how did I do? Okay, how did I do? And she said, you were okay, but you should add more of these things. And I didn't even have a pitch deck. So I told her before in the DM itself that I don't have a pitch deck. Oh, no problem. We'll just have a chat. And then I asked, okay, how should I talk to VCs? What should I ask you as a founder? And she gave me points. I was going through those notes a few days back. How to talk to VCs was talk to me by a VC herself. So that happened. So I started talking to a few VCs and then they asked me, what do you want to build? How do you think this technical problem will be solved? So I took some time. I spent few days to think about the whole metaversity concept. At that time, I called it Invactverse actually. So I came up with the plan, but it was really hard to explain to people what it would look like, how it would work. I created some diagrams, didn't come out really well. So I took another few days and created a prototype. And in that prototype, there was a metaverse, there was people running around each other and all of it. So I coded that out. And then I went to the same VC and I said, see, this is the product, this is how it would look like. It was jaldi kaise bana liya? They were like, did you have this ready? I'm like, no, this is like 2-3 nights of coding job. It's not like that big a deal. And they were like, yeah, now we are. So these VCs basically saw it and they're like, wow, this is great. And the speed also is good. Vision looks fine. And that is when I was also talking to my ex-co-founder, Manish. We had chats before that. And I told him VCs are interested. And do you want to come in now? And he said, yeah, I can come in when the term sheets are being signed because me leaving a creative job without a term sheet doesn't look good. I'm like, fine, that works for me. I don't mind. So I kept talking to a few more VCs, few earlier talks I would do. And then the final talks, I would also have Manish come in saying that he would be the co-founder for this venture. And people would be like, are you going to leave your job? They would ask Manish, and like, yeah, as soon as we sign the term sheet, I will leave my job. So I think this was 15.
What was the get Manish on as a co-founder? Did you see the value in closing a VC deal, or did you see skill sets, or did you see network?
So VC deal, I didn't see a lot of value because VC already had happened before that. And I had got these VCs already. So that was not a lot of value there. But I saw a lot of value in experience, right? Because he had a great experience of running corporates, big businesses. And I considered myself more of a teacher / engineer, right? So first of all, I like to teach. Second, I like to build, right? So I was not keen on driving all of the business, the marketing, the day to day of things. And I thought execution wise, Manish should be a great hand. It would help them.
You can focus on the product.
Yeah, I can focus on things which I like, and Manish can focus on things which Manish does really well, right? So that was the thought process. So that just happened. There was no plan to get funding. There was not even a pitch deck. I remember reading Secrets of the Sandhill Road. So my thing is, yeah, if I don't know something, I'll read a book overnight and become an expert tomorrow. So I read Secrets of Sandhill Road. I understood how funding works, how to create a pitch deck, things like that, and did all of it, created a vision video and all, because it was very hard to explain to people without a video. Like, how would you explain metaverse in words? So that happened. And then we closed funding on 15th December. Like, we got the term sheet. And then another 3 or 4 days, Manish resigned. I think 18th or sometime his tweet came up that I'm resigning. And then we started building because we had the term sheet already. Funding came in February. It takes some time to get the whole paperwork done. But we were going full throttle because also we had multiple term sheets. So we knew if one person backs out, we'll have other people backing us anyway. So that was it.
I want to understand, what product did you envisage? Why did you choose a metaverse form factor for, essentially it's an edtech product, and you chose the form factor of metaverse.
Right.
So why did you choose the metaverse form factor? And this is an audio podcast, so we can't show your demo video to people who are listening in, but just help people understand what was it that you were pitching to VCs? What was the vision?
So first I'll explain why metaverse. Okay. 2 reasons. One was a very personal reason. When I was teaching students, and I've been teaching them for a very long time, I wanted that I would have my own college. And then when I walk on the roads of this college, people will say, "Good morning, sir. Good evening, sir." Very childish dream, but a very honest dream I'm sharing on your podcast. So that was the dream, right? Over time, I did realize that one college will not solve problems for people, and then it would be more exclusive than inclusive, and just another IIM problem. Don't want to get into that. And then the second thing which happened was, when I was getting active on Twitter, and people would ask, "What's your unpopular opinion? What's the ill you would die on for?" And I would say, colleges are a waste of time. And because I have not just time, and more than time, I think it's money as well for a middle class student, right? And then people would come and say, "But no, we got so much of networking done. We made lifetime friends. We had all the good memories." And I'm like, "Dude, you are paying for education. You're paying for your degree. You're not paying for all of this. These are it's like going to buy a soap and being happy with the packet of, right? Soap is not doing its job of cleaning." But also I realized another thing is that not everybody is a very transactional person. People make judgments based on their emotions and how they feel rather than what's value they are getting in. The ROI thinking is not very strong with everyone. I thought, okay, so people do need that community experience to feel included and to feel. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that community works in education really well. We have been a community educational piece for a very long time. So you can't just say, sit out and read a book overnight and become a genius. Not everybody can do it, and it's okay. And then I started reading a lot of research papers on it. Read, by the way, a lot of research papers or research books and so on. I even published my research in Springer and it got published. I got the best paper award there. That helped a lot, by the way, during the fundraise process. Like, I would say, "Hey, I have a published research." I would think, "Oh, found it."
Okay.
So I had to send paper to a lot of my VCs actually. उनको भरोसा नहीं होता था. Like, here is the Springer link. Here is the paper, because you will not pay $10. Chindi, you, I know. So here's the paper as well. As the author, I have the rights to distribute the paper. The copyright is between me and the Springer. Anyway,
What is this Springer thing?
so IEEE, Springer, these are like really good forums where these are like where scientists publish paper. And if you publish a paper there, it holds a lot of value in everyone's eyes. It's not as good as holding a patent, but it's really good. And then if you win the best paper award there, then it's like next level. Like you're best in among the best kind of person.
So
Right?
they're like the digital avatar of the journals, which at point of time.
Yeah, it's journal only. So journal is research paper. I think both have interchangeably these words are used. There was this old thought of having your own college. Then there was this forced thought of, or you can call feedback in a nicer way, of craving a community space or a college life. And then there was this research which was backing it. All three came together, and I thought, if we have to create a college, how will we create a college online? And it was not metaverse. See, people have embodied experience in video games for a very long time. If you play a video game, you start feeling that person, right? You start moving like that person. And if it's hurt, you feel hurt. So you have that embodied experience through an avatar. High engagement, right? So that happens. So why not we take the same? I read the amazing research, by the way. I want to share this. People are spending more time on Roblox and Fortnite just socially bonding versus the time spent on Twitter and Instagram. Like people are just hanging out on Fortnite. And this is obviously during COVID, but it's still amazing, right? That you are hanging out in a 3D avatar while phone, video chat, or these are much more easier to do. But so basically you want your embody experience there, right? So think of this metaverse as nothing but a game with your avatars moving around, but instead of shooting each other and slapping each other and knifing each other, you are basically helping each other study and complete your homework and running into these awesome conversations which you run into college. Chai ki tapri hoti hai. You have this samosa stall. You have a place where you sit and watch every other people going and judging them, right? So all of that you have in this whole metaverse in a 3D virtual space. And you can, as a game, you can access it through your phone, through your laptop, and we made it accessible through VR devices as well.
I'm basically picturing something like the metaverse that was described in Snow Crash. So how would the education happen in this? So it's a virtual space where people can walk around, bump into other people and exchange messages. It could be maybe text or voice or whatever.
Yeah.
How does the education happen?
Similar to anything else, like you have a classroom, you have a 3D classroom, and we have come up with some amazing concepts wherein if you start typing on your machine to take notes, your avatar would start taking notes in the 3D world as well. So if you see everybody in your classroom taking notes, you would realize, hey, maybe this is a noteworthy moment, right? And all those exclamations, or things need not be just on voice. You can have things like raising hand, clapping, questioning, all of those things. So I think those are the pieces. So education will happen again, similar to a classroom. But I think more than the classroom experience, the key is in the outside classroom experience, after classroom experience, because that's what people go to college for. Nobody remembers this classroom from college. Sure, nobody does. But people remember what they did after the classroom, and that's where metaverse shines more.
Okay. And would you need like those 3D glasses or something like that?
So this is very much PUBG, Fortnite, vlogs. You can play it on any device. You can use it on any device. But if you have the VR device, obviously the experience would be much better.
More immersive. Okay. Got it. Okay. So then you were at the stage where the deal got signed, Manish resigned. Tell me from there what happened.
So then we started building the team. One of my friend left his job at Microsoft. He was going to Google. I called him. I basically convinced him to join us. So he joined as the head of product. And then we started building the product. Devs, I had my own devs, like an army of devs. If everyone is hiring from me, then who will I hire from? Obviously from me. So we got devs very quickly. So we started building. We got a design person and we got good response. So students were also very excited about the whole alt MBA route. And that's how things were progressing until a few things happened. So the initial idea was that we would just start this as a cohort, not get any funding or anything. Like first time I talked to Manish, that was the idea. We'll just start it as a cohort.
Because you're taking money up front.
Yeah. So we'll just do that and we'll get going. We'll see whether there's PMF or not. All of this funding happened. This basically was, as I said, it was unplanned, but also you should raise funds when you don't need the funds. It's always a good advice. So we raised funds then. So
yeah, then
that happened. And then that conflict went on for little longer than I expected. It was not getting resolved. So then I suggested that we don't do the course, because this is not just, I have been there, right? I have paid money for a high paid course and then got a shoddy delivery. So I was not able to bring myself to do that to someone. If someone has paid 2 lakh rupees, they are putting their 4 months on the line, and we don't know whether the company will survive this conflict or not, because it's been days. So I wrote to everyone, all the stakeholders, and luckily after some discussions, everyone agreed on the same point that at this point of time, doing the course will only and only harm the students and not. So we canceled the course. Obviously, there was outrage. I called all the students. I talked to them. I couldn't tell them all of this was happening because this was not resolved yet. So we did all of.
Although this was out in the news, there was
No, that came out in
Manisha's
10, 12 days later.
okay. Once you started writing to the students, that would have triggered.
No, once I wrote to all the investors, like we were talking to all the named investors, when I wrote to all the angel investors, that got it out in the news. And the day I took the charge, the first thing I did was reinstate the badge, which was not delivered, and start teaching them for free. I'm like, we have hurt you enough. Give us a chance to mend it. And you're in Japan right now, right? You know what kintsugi is. So named the batch kintsugi. I told them that I know
Okay,
that.
I don't know kintsugi. Sorry.
So kintsugi is the Japanese tradition which talks about broken pieces, and how when you mend broken pieces with gold, it becomes even beautiful, right? So I talked to all the students. I said, hey, this was what was going on. You heard it all on news. You saw it all on news. So I don't need to lie to you anymore. And I'm really sorry that you put your trust in the wrong person, and give me a chance to correct it. And I think students and your elder brother and younger brothers and sisters are always the kindest. They realize कि बड़ा है तो गलती हो जाती है, कोई बात नहीं, it's okay. So they said, ठीक है भैया, हुआ. We were all very emotional. I'm like, sorry yaar. And they're like, ठीक है भैया, कोई बात नहीं, हो गया, it's fine. Let's study. So the batch is still going on. The Kintsugi batch is still going on. We are teaching them. They're creating proof of work. All of that is on. Meanwhile,
But this batch is in the metaverse environment, or that metaverse environment is still under development?
this batch is not in the metaverse environment. The next batch, which we started to yesterday, is in the metaverse environment. So even this batch will get metaverse environment, because as I'm coming to the next point is, we also had to figure out what we want to do from here, right? Yes, starting the batch was one thing, but do we go back to 2 lakh rupees, 60 students a batch again? And this time it was me who has to make those decisions, right? Because I'm in the driving seat now. So I did a lot of soul searching, and some of my angels and VCs, they really helped. And what came up was that I left my job to make education more accessible for more people, right? So 2 lakh rupees and 60,000 is definitely something which is not working out. So why go down the same path? You had got a chance to maybe reset. So I then talked to my VCs and I told them that we are going to be more accessible in pricing. And after a little bit of discussions, they also agreed. They're like, yeah, it's your company and it's your vision, and we can only advise you. You are the right person to take the call. और बहुत अच्छा बोला यार एक ने कि वो करो जिसमें दिल लगता है, because जहाँ दिल लगेगा वहीं magic होगा, right? Where your heart is, magic will happen there. So that's what I thought about, make it much more accessible. They were also on board to making it more accessible. So that this batch, the batch which we basically opened admissions yesterday. This batch is completely free, 8-month course in finance specialization. But I'll come to how this has happened. So I talked to my VCs. I told them, hey, boss, see, we want to solve this problem. And there were also rumors you would do another fundraising or what, or you would do more marketing. There is a brand has got damaged, so you should do more marketing and things like that. And I told everyone, ki dekho, very clearly, okay, I left my job because I loved my job again. So I left my job to solve a problem, not to become a unicorn, not to raise funds. All of this are like, so my fundraising philosophy is fundraising is like getting petrol in your vehicle, right? That is needed to go to the next destination, but the next destination should not be the next petrol bunk. It should be where you want to go, right? So I told him clearly that, boss, there's no fundraising and I'm not going to do anything. We have enough money right now. We have 24 months plus runway. So let's solve the problem.
How much have you raised till now? Like,
We raised 5 million. Right. And out of that, some money came here, some money came there. So it's still in the mix, but we raised significant amount. We have significant amount in our bank as well. Right. So I told them that we don't need to raise any more any soon. And let me focus only and only on solving the problem, that whether the course and the metaversity is solving this problem at scale, right? So everyone agreed, and then we talked more and came up that, hey, if we want to find PMS, we should do more batches and more quickly so that we get early feedback on how the sessions are happening. Also, we decided that we won't go the alt MBA route. Alt MBA is a very generalist route, and generalist routes work good for top tier colleges because you're getting into a Google or you're getting into a Microsoft. You can be a programmer and you can then learn whether you want to be a web developer or something else, or data analyst or what. Same way in IIM, you can decide later whether you want to be a product person or sales person or a marketing person or anything else. But the lower level jobs, they need specialists. And what we see is that there are tons of lower level jobs, but there are very few these higher level generalist jobs. Like 1% jobs are like generalist jobs, but because those make the news, we hear a lot about it, right? You know, like the 1 crore package, 10 crore package. So those make the news. But if you talk to people who are getting these outsourcing jobs from US to India or Europe to India, we are getting a lot of business analyst roles. We're getting a lot of finance analyst roles. We're getting a lot of marketing roles, product management roles, right? So we said we will focus only on these roles. Like, we don't want to teach HR and operations and strategy. Kya karega bacha strategy ka, right? He's like a 21-year-old kid. So we said we'll do only one, but we'll do it really well. We'll go deep versus going wide, and then we'll place them in the right places. So our whole strategy basically took a 180, and we said, A will not do generalist, B will be more inclusive than exclusive, and C will do more batches to get more feedback rather than doing one batch perfect. So more like a software engineer approach to things. Agile methodology. Send the code there. Let people do the bug bash. And let them report bugs. So that's what we did. And also another thing which I did was we grew to 50 people company very soon. We closed funding in February. That's when we were in the news. And by April, we had 50 people, right? And I said, and that was another thing which we were becoming too corporate too early, right? A seed stage company should feel like a seed stage company. Right. And I would say luckily or unluckily, by the time I assumed command due to the cost cutting, which was happening, already 35 folks were asked to leave. So I got a 15 people team and I said, this team looks good to me. I don't need to hire anymore, which basically gives me even bigger runway to run and figure out the problem. So these are some of the core changes which has happened in the past 60 days since I took command as a CEO. So it's been a daunting journey.
okay. So this batch one was originally supposed to be alt MBA,
Yeah.
but what did you run it as?
No, that we ran it as
Like-
alt MBA only. So that
And
course
who
was
taught
already-
there? Because
we had teachers.
you were not very comfortable in that. Okay.
So initially when I thought Manish will teach, that time we didn't have all the funds and all the pomp and show. So we were like I taught the whole web or the programming cohort. Manish would teach the whole cohort, right? But then when we got the funding and everything, we signed up other teachers as well for every specific topic. So those teachers were on contract with Invact. And these were really nice teachers also. So when I reached out to them after taking over, I said, students are still there. Company is still there. Your course is prepared. You want to teach, right? And they're like, yeah, why not? Let's teach. And so they did teach. So it's more like a generalist alt MBA piece itself, because again, this was on first day I took command. I said, let's not wait on this. It will figure itself out and investors will figure themselves out. But students have lost a month because of my mistake, 18 days because of my mistake. And the agony which they went through, it was just unneeded, right? So I said, they have already lost enough. Let's get them in and let's start teaching them. Before I assumed command, I'd already talked to these students. I told them when things went into news, they realized things were not hunky-dory. So I talked to them. I said, I told them very clearly, I remember that I don't know whether I'll get to run the company or not at this point of time. But if I get to run this company, your batch will run. And if I don't get to run this company, your batch will still run. I will hire the teachers. I will ask the teachers. I have my own contacts and friends, but your batch will run. So irrespective of that. So Kintsugi server, where we teach, Kintsugi server was made, I think 5-6 days before I assumed command. It's just that I made it official the moment I became the CEO, and then teachers joined in quickly. That's what.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. But what kind of jobs would batch one, cohort one get? Because they're not doing any specific specialization. That's like a generalist introduction to management.
But they would get generalist jobs. There are enough chief of staff, founder office. These kind of jobs are enough there. And this is also a very small batch, so I wouldn't have problem. But these are also, as I say, when we think about scale, these are very few. You don't have a lot of founder office jobs. This batch I can place easily because I have those connects. But the next batch or tens of thousands of people, it would be hard to place. That's why we pivoted to a newer strategy.
And this batch you taught for free. You didn't take anything from them. And this cohort 2, which is an 8 months.
This is, we are calling Freedom Batch. The first was Kintsugi, this is Freedom because it's starting on 15th August. And I have been, as I've been telling about my story, I strongly believe that good education should not be dependent on whether you have money, whether you have access to tier 1 city colleges, because a lot of people, they don't do really good in 10th or 12th or in IIT preparation, and they don't get into the best of the colleges, right? Why this? That's a very strong theory. So I'm saying should be removed. Education should be freed from these shackles. And this batch is again free of cost for the next 8 months. People can come in and they do. And good thing is that this time, very interesting. I don't know if it's interesting for the listeners. A lot of people said Kintsugi batch mein to bachche aa gaye because those were the kids who were dependent on you, right? They just came. But there is a lot of PR damage which has happened and people have lost trust on you. And I said, no, if you solve the right problem and if you are genuine, people can sense that intent, right? So this time, I did not do any marketing on LinkedIn. I have a lot of followers on LinkedIn, a lot of followers on Twitter and everywhere else. Only we have one Invact community channel on Telegram, which had 2,500 people. And only on that, I said 7 p.m., we will open the admissions and we have only 300 limited seats. So be ready tonight. Okay. And 7 p.m., we opened the admission and in 1 minute, we crashed the server. We got 100 people in. So we had to create a new link to get another 100 people. When we crash it in 5 minutes, then we have to open another link. So within 28 minutes, we had about 300 students filled and admissions were closed for everyone. So this is for any entrepreneur who is listening. I just want to say what was told to me. There were a lot of people who told me that leave Invact as is. There's enough PR damage done. It's very hard to rebuild something which has lost trust and PR. And there was one person, a Paras, who told me that if you care about the problem enough, people care about your solution. They don't care about anything else. They can sense the intent. Just go through it and you will do it. And I'm happy that I took that advice. And that's why the first and the second batch could happen very well. Perseverance wins.
What are you teaching in the second batch? What is it on?
This is finance specialization. This is for equity research field. So there's a lot of work coming in India for equity research actually. And during COVID, people showed that everything can be done online. So I have this very strong theory. I want to share this with you is that India was the BPO capital at one point of time. It will become BPO capital, right? Because we were English speaking country. Then we became IT services hub. We are IT services hub right now. Then now in previous past 5 years, you see, we have also become product capital. So a lot of companies have opened their huge product building, like Microsoft, Google. They have huge offices here. Earlier, this used to be a satellite office. You would get some people, whoever does well, they go to US. Now people are moving from US to India to launch products here. Like I have built teams here in India, right? I have built Outlook here in India. So it became product hub as well. And we definitely need more programmers for that. What I feel is we will also become knowledge worker hub in the coming 5 to 10 years time. All your business analytics job, all your product job, all your marketing job, all your research job, all your finance job, everything will come to India. The next revolution which is going to happen of these knowledge workers. And I strongly feel that Invact will play a big role in creating that revolution.
Okay, got it. So this would be like a CFA equivalent kind of a course.
Of course, yes.
And
this is more on equity
full-time.
research. CFA is a little bit on accounting as well. This is more on equity research. And no, this is not full time. I have made that mistake. Never gonna do that again. No, don't leave your job for anyone telling you on the internet to quit your job. Oh, matter मेरे भैया हैं वो दीदी हैं. So I learned that. You see, when you make mistakes, people have taken a bet on me, Tanay Pratap. Most of the followers came to Tanay Bhaiya. So I kept thinking, when this was all going down, I kept thinking, yaar, ye kya galti kar di maine? How can I make such a mistake? And the mistake I made was, people took a bet on me, but I did not take a bet on myself. I took a bet on another person. I should have taken the bet on myself. Tabhi meri learning thi, never again anything else than CEO nahi hona hai. Ab CEO hi hona hai. And I used to tell this to, I will be the CEO of that company. I will not take bet on other people. People take bet on me, I'll take bet on myself. If everybody's taking bet on Tanay Pratap, it's good. The Tanay Pratap should not take bet on a different person. So that was the learning ki nahi, full time is a hard for students, right? When things fall, it just falls really bad. So we are not doing full time. This is a part-time course. As just concluding the thought that when you fail, if you learn something from it, it's called an experience. If you don't learn anything from it, you're doomed to fail again. So those were my learnings. Don't do full-time courses again. Don't ask people to risk so much on just one bit of thing which you are producing.
How will you make money? You're doing a free course.
Money is easy to make. Yeah.
But you've enrolled 300 kids. There will be an 8-month investment in teaching them. How will you make money?
We will not make money out of this batch for sure. We want to perfect the product first, right? We will not charge for the course, right? I think there will be newer business models coming in. I think it will surface with time. There could be different kinds of business models in this as well. There could be more access to more mentors or access to more interview preps where you have a different cost, right? This course will be on metaverse and things will work automatically. We will have a community manager which will cost something, but not too much compared to what 300 students can pay. So I think the vision is to keep it accessible, right? And the genius is to solve it for that. So I think business models will emerge. But from what I'm thinking right now is access to more premium, I would say, or value-added services would be the business model at scale. But right now, what we are focused on is solving the problem first. Can an 8-month course land people into an equity research job? That's the bigger question to solve right now.
And this course would you have live classes and all of that, or it would be like a prepared curriculum they go through and like a complete journey which is mapped out for them with very little live inputs?
No, there are a lot of live inputs. We will have live classes for this cohort because again, we are figuring it out, but at scale, we will not have live classes. That's to keep the cost low overall. But there would be a lot of live input. There would be proof of work, which we call craft reviews. There would be doubt clearing sessions. There would be interview preparations. There would be resume polish. All of that, your community engagement sessions, which community managers would run, live interactions with mentors, all of that will happen, even in this course and even in future courses. But that would be marginal cost. The bigger cost, which I figured out, was in live teaching, right? And that we can, if we reduce that cost, we can make the course virtually free, if not cheap, virtually free. And we can figure out a business model in value-added services. If you like the interview prep service and we are providing you two to each, you can buy 5 more and that would be helpful. If you want an accountability partner, you can have a personal accountability partner as well, which would cost something to the company, and adding some surcharge, it would make some revenue there. So I think at scale, these things are easier to figure out. In India, I feel, and this is my understanding of this market, is that students they don't shy away from pain. They don't have, like most of the edtechs have this CAC problem. The CAC problem is because you have not established trust, right? If you establish trust, and I have seen this myself, right? People pay 2 lakh rupees just on my name. 60 people, 1.2 crore revenue we made without showing the product, without having all of it. So the trust needs to be built. And I think once the product comes up, people realize, hey, this is a great product, this is a great path.
There is one problem I see in offering a free course, which is the student doesn't have skin in the game.
Right.
So you would get frivolous enrollment, and that enrollment would be at the cost of a more serious student. So money is one way to weed out frivolous enrollments. And
so two things here, actually. I think students are not frivolous, or enrollments are not frivolous. It's just that the promise and delivery do not match, right? So keeping someone in the class because they have paid money, I don't think that's the right thing. Netflix doesn't pay you to watch content. You pay to watch Netflix content because it's entertaining, it's interesting. So the key here is, and I have taught 6 hours, I tweeted this long time back that my biggest competitor is Netflix. I have taught 6-hour long classes and students have done those 6-hour long classes. It's your job as a teacher, as an educator, to deliver things which grasp the student's attention and also deliver value, not just attention. Like a joker can also do that, but a teacher has an even bigger job. So just with the money, I think this is skill in the game thing. वो बच्चे का तो skill in the game already है ना. That kid is coming to get a job. How much more skill in the game can that be? Like someone is depending their career on your course. That is the biggest skill in the game. And if they can't do it because of there's some genuine reason, something has happened or some exam has come, something has happened, they should be able to drop off and join another cohort, right? Why not? So this is the first part of the question. Second question was that it's taking someone's seat only now, right? Only now we have 300 limited seats. But at scale, this won't be seat limited. At scale, anybody can come anytime. Think of, what's a better analogy? Think of government exam aspirants in this country. 3-4 crore people are preparing for government exams at any point of time. They fail 1 year, they fail 2 years, they fail 3 years. Fine. 4th year, they will try, they fail again. The only problem with this model, the government exam model, is that even if you fail 4 years, you have nothing to show for it. But if at Invact you fail for 4th cohort, you will have proof of work to show for it. You're like, hey, I was not able to do complete, but I have done so much, and see my marketing plan, see my SWOT analysis, see my this, see my that, right? So my thinking is that why penalize the students for teachers' incompetence? मतलब टीचर घटिया पढ़ा रहे हैं तो 75% अटेंडेंस रख दो, फी रख दो, उसको रेस्टिगेट करने का डर रख दो. ये सब तो हमने मतलब ये तो मुझे बुरा लगा है ना. मतलब this is what I have faced. And if I'm revolutionizing education, if I'm doing the same thing again with the students to get, it's what Einstein says, right? If you do the same thing and expect different results, you are nothing but a fool, right? So I don't want to be that fool. I'm calling myself a genius all this while. So why do the same thing? So I think if people drop off, it's very natural. We shouldn't be worried about it. Our win, our North Star metric as a company, since I've taken over, I've defined this, is how many proof of works, how many crafts have been created. I don't care if the student is watching my video, if they're coming to my class. Why would I care? If someone is writing an excellent business plan, I can recommend that person to someone as a founder of his job. My job is done. मुझे तो उसको जॉब दिलाना है ना. मुझे क्या फर्क पड़ता है वो क्लास कर रहा है, वो डाइवर्सिटी आ रहा है. I don't care. So my thing is drop if you want to drop. I don't mind. Come to the next class because this is the road. If you want to walk from other paths, maybe माता मिलेंगी, maybe नहीं मिलेंगी. But in this way, I am ensuring that there is enough done for you and you can come anytime. We are always open. You are always welcome.
And what do you think about the income share agreement? There is a couple of startups like Sunstone and a couple of these who do the income share agreement. They give you the education for free and take a share from your salary. Like that could be one way.
I have very strong opinions on this. And this was asked through VCs also. So I have 2 opinions very strong on this. One is that why I think ISA is unfair is because it's unfair to the student. If a student is doing a better job than the student sitting next to that student, if A is doing a better job than B, the teacher has not put more effort on A than B, right? Teacher is still the same effort has been put, but A has to pay more than B.
Because he get a better salary. Okay.
So we are प्रतिभा को penalize क्यों कर रहे हो यार? ये तो this is unfair, right? You should not penalize people for being passionate about something. You should not penalize passion, right? So I think that's my bigger problem with it. The second problem, which I told many of tech founders in this, I keep talking to people about these things. Like I have strong opinions around education, so people also want to listen. कि क्या बोलता है ये? So the second problem is that if you want to do income share agreement, you have to filter on the input. If you filter on the input, your CAC will always go high.
Okay. Because you need
want the cream of
1,000
the crop.
applications so that you can choose hundreds.
Exactly. Because you're underwriting their success. Your success is dependent on their success. So you will get very few people. Now, these few people already have the intent. These few people already had hardworking capacity. They will think, Arey, why would I pay 5 lakh rupees to someone? I'll succeed myself. The only thing ISA supports, it's not education, it's access asymmetry. ISA has access to these companies which would shortlist their resumes. So this access asymmetry is what they're capitalizing on. And the moment students understand this, they're like, why would I give my money to some? I'll try from outside there anyway. But the problem is also of the CAC. So you have to always charge very high to sustain your company. And the more you charge high because of your CAC, the more students would want to walk away from that. So I think as a business model, yes, it's working, but it's working in the top 1% pot. And the rest 99% C is nobody's fishing there, I think. And I think that's a great business opportunity for anyone, because in this top 1%, there are like 10 ISA models putting their hook, and it's a very small pond, so you will exhaust it very quickly. And also people would realize very soon that there's nothing special there for the cost, and they are realizing that. It's not like people are not, and then they would move away from these pieces.
Okay. So what's on your roadmap? You launched this course on finance. What else is there on the roadmap?
So next is the business analytics course is what we are going to launch. And then the focus is completely on PMF right now. What I have done previously as well is I obsess with student success, right? After every class, I will call everyone in a virtual meeting. I'll ask them what went wrong, take all of their feedback, note it down, say, okay, next time these are the things we have agreed we will not do. Why are you not doing proof of work? Where are you getting stuck? Break those proof of work into smaller pieces, create help sessions. So you have to basically get very involved. Like people think, and I was typing this today, that people think that product is software, but product is not software. Product is the pain which you are solving, right? It's a painkiller. Product is a painkiller. And that is what students want. Someone who would take their feedback very regularly and then improve products. I think for the next 3 to 6 months, that's my exact focus is on figuring out the product really well, and little bits on how to do the messaging piece, how to do the people piece. Those are parts of running a company and scaling it later. But I think until we have strong early signs of PMS, there's nothing in the roadmap. That's all. And I talked to a few of the investors. They called me after this exit, which happened. What are your funding plans, and when is that in the roadmap? And I said, see, until I solve the problem, I'm not going to come for the fundraise, because if the problem is not solved, more money is not going to solve the problem. And if the problem is getting solved, it's easier to then get the money in, right? So it makes no sense. So they were taken aback.
Will you still have cohorts, say 1 year down the line? Will it still be a cohort-based program? Because you want to have unlimited access, like anybody who wants to join can join. Will they still have to join on specific dates, or will it be like you just join and start your journey?
I think this will be at scale again. We are talking about it. This would be very much like a PUBG or a Fortnite. So you would wait till 100 people join in, and then 100 people play on the same map. Similarly, you will wait till 25 people join in. Those 25 people will become a cohort. And now when the 10 people do the exercise and these 50 people, for some very right reasons, are left behind, these 10 and the other 10 will become the next level cohort. And then this cohort keeps moving, right? After every module. So if at any point of time you have a community, you have people to help you out, and you have more and more people who are moving towards more like higher modules, higher levels. And also you are not waiting for a fixed date or, your seats to be filled to get started. You don't, as a company, I don't have the pressure ki call karo, kisi tarah becho, sach karo, jhoot karo becho, because we don't need to worry about that.
So you're really like doing proper gamification of education, even from your revenue model. You can just join in, and then there is in-game purchases the way you have. So similar.
Exactly. See, all my life I have felt that education nahi bolna chahiye. I think education is a bad word for this, but learning is like a game, right? It's so rewarding when you learn something. Any small thing you learn, you're like, dekho, main sikha. But the way to show that I feel that learning has been like the most rewarding experience. This is why programming feels so rewarding, because it's like a game. You get bugs and you solve the bugs and you get the result. I think the good thing about learning is when you create something, you have something to show off. Like, देखो मम्मी मैंने बनाया, देखो पापा मैंने बनाया, all of those things. We are built, like, if you go through my vision statement, we have not published it on the website, but the vision is that when a student wakes up, कभी भी वो उठता है ना मंडे को, she shouldn't feel, अरे यार, need to go to school, need to go to college. For need to go to nahi, want to go. Oh my God, this is another day. The joy of learning is just so much more than anything else. And I strongly feel that that's missing. So that's why the whole gamification piece of learning. But the idea is that people should have fun learning. And games are, why games work? There is a lot of learning in the games. But why games work is at one point of time, you have to only learn to deal with few variables. And then they keep increasing the levels. Very slowly, the numbers of variables increase. But if it's easier, then it feels like a game. It feels like a walk. It feels like learning is joyful. I think that's what's missing in learning in education. And that's what we want to bring back overall.
Okay, so Tanay, we're catching up after a couple of months since the conversation which the listeners just heard. You spoke of a certain direction you wanted to go and build a product which is free for most users, and there are certain paid elements of it with a metaverse kind of an experience, so that there is that feeling of a virtual campus and building relationships. Tell me how things have panned out since we last spoke. What direction have you gone in? What have you learned so far? What has worked? What has not worked?
So one thing which mostly it's the same. We still have metaverse. We still have that serendipity angle. We have the community feature. I think when we talked last, we talked about that. Invact needs to be standing on two pieces, craft and community. We still have both. Craft is our application based learning, create and learn, and community is our metaverse piece. So both the things are
How
there.
does how does metaverse work? Does it need like a VR headset or?
No. It works on VR devices as well. But what we have built it for India. In India, people are not going to buy a 30,000 rupees VR device. But on laptops, even on 30K laptops, it works beautifully well, and it works on web based, browser based. So you don't have to download like 1 GB files and all of that. So, and the whole metaverse is like 10 MB, so you don't have to download a lot of stuff. So it's like a Zoom meeting, but in 3D metaverse space. So people who play games, they relate to it a lot. Like every time we have done like multiple batches now, and every batch when they get metaversity access, they are like, wow. And yesterday also the same thing was happening on Twitter. Like, this is something which we haven't thought about before. This is so new in education. So that's how metaverse is going right now.
My kid is a big fan of Roblox. I'm assuming this experience would be something like that.
Yeah, it is something like Roblox, a little bit more high definition than Roblox, but similar to that.
Okay, got it. Okay, so that remains as what we discussed. You had also said that you will take in students with a free enrollment. So has that remained as the?
Yeah, we have done we have processed around 700 students by now. All of them came through a rigorous admission process, and all the batches which we did are free because we are in product development phase right now. We have completed the phase one of it. The phase two is going on. I think for the next 4 to 6 months, that development will happen. Since we have a lot of runway, we can do all of this without worrying too much. And once that's done, then we'll start thinking about the monetization phases. But right now, all the batches are running free.
Amazing. What is the difference between phase one and phase two? What are you going to do in phase two?
Yeah, it sounds very much like Kevin Feige. Phase one, phase two, like there's an MCU plan. Phase four of MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe. So what we are doing is, what we are trying to do is, we identified a niche. So last we were talking still about MBA, but then we identified a niche. We also realized that specialist demand is higher than generalist demand at the bottom of the pyramid. At the top of the pyramid, the McKinseys and the MBBs needs generalist more, but at 25,000 rupees per month, at 5 lakh rupees a year, you need specialist more. Like you need people who can do financial analysis, credit research, banking, corporate finance. All these people need to be specialists first. So we identified a niche, a very big niche of finance, which is unserved, because you see all the courses there are on digital marketing mostly, and there's this new trend on Twitter on product management. But these job openings are much less compared to these KPO job openings of, and I mean the number of jobs KPOs offer in the analyst region, the financial research analyst, business analyst, all those pieces. So we identified that and we doubled down on it, and that's where we defined the course into three phases. So the first phase was, can we take a complete beginner and make them understand financial concepts, make them do a little bit of financial modeling, make them understand what an income statement is, can they do forecasting and all of that. So that first phase took multiple iterations, because when you take a complete noob and also not the smartest, the 1%, the 2% crowd, then you start realizing that it's not that obvious, and there's a real test in time, because they have to apply and create like 10 Excel sheets, right? So they can't just watch a video and say, yeah, I think I know. Like, you have to apply it, and then we will know whether you know or not. So that took like 3 to 4 months. So it took three iterations, three batches. But then we started getting good results there. Then we created the phase two, wherein, hey, now you know finance. Can you now become an expert, a professional in finance? And that could be something similar to doing a master's in finance only, where you now understand balance sheet. Now you already understood income statement. Now you understand cash flow, COGS, how all of these things work together, and then create, uh, bigger models. Once that is done, which is phase two, in phase three, we start training them, and that would be a 6 week phase three. We would start training them for specific, very niche requirements. Like if you want to go into equity research, here, learn DCF and other valuation techniques. If you want to go in credit, if you want to go in banking, so all of these pieces will start getting into those pieces later. But before that, for this 6 week, which was the initial one, and the 24 week, which is phase two, you will just do a lot of Excel, a lot of finance, a lot of business involvement, because people, like, when you get into business, you don't know a lot of terms, EBIT, EBITDA, this, that, what's a board, what's an IPO. Even I learned a lot in the past few months. So you understand all those terms, you understand how companies perform, how their performances are evaluated, and then you also have to learn how to communicate, because English is the medium of instruction, but also you need to prepare PPTs and then docs and reports, all of those pieces. So that's the comprehensive piece. We are in our phase two of product development right now.
Amazing. Okay. So far, people have gone through phase one, which is like, say, a finance 101.
Yeah.
And now these batches will enroll into the phase two, which is like a specialization where they will choose which specific area they want to. So far, these are not yet employable, the people who've come out of phase one.
No. So that's just to clarify, that specialization would be phase three. Phase two is just becoming much better in finance. And so phase two is already started. It started in January. We are 8 weeks into it, and we are seeing great results for that batch as well. So once phase two completes, they would be employable, but we would want them to go through phase three as well. And because one thing which we realized is, a lot of people get their first job in finance, but then they struggle once they want to grow in that role. Because if you're doing the same road thing every day, you'll be good in 5 months, three to 5 months time. But then how will you grow in that role? So we don't want to get students just their foot in the door. We also want them to succeed 2 years, 3 years down the line. So for that, I think the last 10 week stretch would be immensely useful. We showed our work to some of our hiring partners, and they were quite amazed. Even with the first 15, 16 weeks of work which our students have done, they're like, this is more than what we hire for. Like, people from one great insight which I got is that I usually used to think that engineering colleges don't teach. I realized that no colleges in India teach. So even commerce graduates have the same story. Bhaiya, kuch nahi padhate. We don't know anything. We just pass exams. We just go for BCom, MBA, something. But Yeah, so even MCOM, I talked to like past 8 months. I've talked to so many students. Everyone has the same story. भैया MCOM कर लिया क्योंकि मम्मी कह रही थी शादी करा देंगे तो so all of those stories, I realized is like it's the same story as engineering. You go to a college, you get a degree, but you don't get skills. And for the skills, you need something like Invact, and that's where we are positioning ourselves.
And do 100% of students who complete phase one move on to phase two, or do some people drop out, or do you ask some people to drop out?
We don't ask anyone to drop out. We actually want people who came for the first batch and then couldn't complete the first batch. We ask them to come to second batch and then third batch. And this is something which in our culture, in our company also we want to inculcate is that there's no such thing as failures. There's just retry. And it's okay if it takes more than one trial to for you, because you don't have to be the smartest person. You just need to have enough trials left in you, right? So if you drop, it's fine, come back again. Sometimes you say I was not able to understand it previously, or I was busy with something. Like, कोई बात नहीं, फिर से आ जाओ, फिर से करेंगे, एक बार और करेंगे, because it's a 40-year career. See, my thing is it's a 40-year career. 4 months here, 6 months there, 1 year here, 2 year there, it doesn't matter at all. But until I feel it, until the team feels it, until the teachers feel it, students won't feel it, because students को तो यही सिखाया गया है कि even if you are losing 10 marks, you are losing something. Right?
Okay, but there's no voluntary dropout, like people lose interest and drop out, or does
That
that
happens.
also?
That also happens. Few people, I remember this second phase two, around 5 people didn't join the phase two. They're like, we learned a lot, but now we are into a different career path, and that's why we want to, not go deep into finance right now. Like, yeah, fine, go ahead.
So that's like a single digit percentage, very low number.
Single digit percentage. Yeah, very low, very low.
Okay, got it. So, this monetization is still something I'm curious about. On how will you do that? And so when we spoke 6 months back, there was no such concept of a funding winter, and where for a founder to say, I will figure out monetization later, was completely acceptable. Today, in today's environment, this is the question which everyone is asking: how will you monetize? How will you become sustaining? How will you be profitable?
I think let's analyze why this question is coming, or where this question is coming from in this funding winter, right? Every business which was built before was built on a very high CAC model and a very high burn model, right? So if you see the edtech giants of today, why they're struggling is because they had a very high CAC and a very high burn model, an inside sales team and all of that, right? We have processed 600 students. We are going to grow to 5,000 students in the next 6 months. Our CAC is virtually zero right now.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
And this 600 you've processed would have been out of a certain bigger number, which would have shown interest.
Yeah. It was around 3,000 people who shown interest, like who actually signed the form, did one POW, did two POW. Then some people dropped off. Then some people couldn't come in. So so it's very huge number which came, and then. And,
so your selection process is like they need to show proof of work, like they need to submit some assignment.
No. We basically give them like 5 videos, 3 Excel and 2 PPTs, and they have to create those Excels and PPTs. And those are like very basic ones, but you need to. One other thing which we keep saying here is intent is not creativity. We want to test for intent and not for creativity, because our TG doesn't have creativity. Creativity comes with time and with confidence, and my TG doesn't have it, and I am not going to penalize them for not having it. So intent. So you need to spend around 20 hours to complete those 5 exercises, but that shows very high degree of intent. So some people come and so zero CAC there, and then our team is very small. So we are a 10 plus 2 people team. Our burn is very low, so we have around 18-20 months of burn still left, right? And so if you are a low CAC, low burn model, and the next thing is, we also, when we talk about scale, we should also talk about, will the CAC increase 5 years down the line? Because a VC is not buying into today, it's buying into a 5-year valuation, right? So let me just touch upon that. The other problem with current edtech companies have is, A, their CAC is high, B, their burn is high. C, the bigger problem is even the delivery costs are high, right? So if you put a live teacher and if you have to teach live every batch and you have to fill at least 100 people batch to go to the next batch, then your costs increase suddenly, right? You need so many teachers. What we also did, and that's what I was saying, that some leap of faith assumptions are now validated, and I'm so happy about it. The past two batches of 200 plus people are now running totally automated on recorded lectures and still have amazing completion numbers. Like the numbers will just blow your mind. Like, right? So now that the cost is low, the CAC is low, the burn is low, we can scale and we can figure out monetization when we want to figure it out, right? So when this is a different story than what story edtech has been telling for a very long time. Like, no, you have to have live classes, you have to have high CACs, you have to have high burn, you need an 400 people inside sales team to, and this all happened. And I want to just take one more minute. Akshay, this all happened because we don't miss sell and we always double down on product. You don't know how many hours, countless hours and sleepless nights me and my team have spent to create this product which which generates this trust. Education is a game of trust, and people forget about that. And I think, some celebrity, some Shah Rukh Khan, some Dhoni, someone will come and you will just borrow that trust. It does not work like that. The trust model is, see, physics wala does not need any celebrity. There's high degree of trust, there's high degree of distribution built in, and then that's why when you see physics wala model, you will see similarities between PW's model and my model, because at there also economies of scale kick in, because one person teaching live is teaching 10,000 students. You don't have like 50 or 100 people batch. So that's where I think, and because physics wala is doing great, I think my prospects as a seed stage startup is also going to be great.
Amazing, amazing. I just wanted to comment on the enrollment process, and I absolutely love it because I always found, I did an MBA myself from one of the premier B schools, and that whole process of performing in a group discussion and performing in an interview is so superficial. It in no way, I mean, it doesn't really test what you have inside you. How much do you know? How intelligent are you? How analytical are you? None of those things get tested in that kind of a process. Whereas the process which you've built, where you tell them, learn this, apply this, show me proof, is such a significantly improved way to enroll students. So I love that.
Thank
Um,
you.
I, traditional wisdom is that these self-paced courses, the Udemy style courses, have very poor completion rates. How did you crack this problem where your self-paced learning course has such a high completion rate?
I think multiple things. There is no easy answer to this. One thing is, when we double down on what is our product, I think our product is a promise of an option that, hey, you have been learning horizontally all your life and things haven't worked out. You know a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and you don't have confidence. A 60% student is also pass, a 90% student is also pass, so you don't know who's competent, who's not. So we took a different model, right? We went vertically. We said, you need to create a stack. So until you know income statement, you won't be graduated to balance sheet. Until you know balance sheet, you won't be graduated to, revenue. You won't be graduated, and you won't be able to build your stack. And until you know all of this, you won't know analysis, forecasting, all of this, right? So I think that approach helped a lot, because students also started enjoying, because this now becomes craft instead of knowledge. When you start creating, you start enjoying it. And this is very much like, painting or anything else. Like, programming is nearest to me. So the more you start programming and you start creating stuff, you start modeling stuff, you start realizing, oh, there's another superpower here. If I learn this, I can do more. So I think going deep is something uh, so natural to us humans that we start enjoying this. And I think deep work talks a lot about it, and that's where I took the inspiration from, of craftsmanship. And that worked. The other thing which worked was messaging. People realize that we are not mis-selling. We tell them, if you complete this, then you get a job, then we take you to the hiring partner, right? There's no magic bullet here. So people realize this is a serious game, not here to mis-sell. And the third thing which worked was the community angle. So I always said craft plus community. Even though courses are self-paced, there is a sense of a batch, a sense of a movement. If you have doubts, you have doubt clearing sessions every week. If you have um, you have community fun sessions every week, so there is a sense of movement together, and there's a positive FOMO happening with it, right? And this craft plus community plus, I would say, the whole approach of going deep in your craft, going along with your community, and having that serious messaging, I think that uh, people discount messaging a lot. But as I said before, education is a game of trust. Until you build trust, your student will not perform. It's very much like gym, right? You can say anything, but until the person goes and does 10 burpees and 20 push-ups, the muscles will not form. And the only way to do that is you build that trust and you motivate them to do. I think that has worked tremendously well for us in the past few months.
Amazing. Okay. So, like when they are doing, like watching the videos and then attempting the assignments and, building their craft. So, this is done like they are connected on a platform where they can interact with other students and
Yeah.
ask each other that, did you understand this, or I got stuck here? And so this happens like at the same time, like this is like
Yeah.
a concurrent. Okay.
Concurrent thing, and you can always get onto the metaversity, and then you will see people are studying there are study groups there, so you join those study groups as well. So all of those pieces, and sometimes you find teacher roaming around in metaverse, and then like, sir, Prashant sir, is it Prashant sir, wo wala samajh mein nahi aaya tha. So even though medium of instruction is English, people talk in Hindi, people talk on chats all the time. And then when you complete your proof of work, you share it. So once you complete proof of work, you share it. I have done this. I got my this evaluated, then other people start doing it. Bhai mujhe bata de, tell me as well. Can you jump on a call? I am struggling with this. So all of that, I think that movement together gives you a sense of a live class, because in general in a live class you are just listening to what teacher is saying. And I think live is also buggy for my teaching. I'll spend like 2 minutes time. Live has a problem. Live, you cannot go back, right? If you did not understand what was said previously, you cannot go back. And that's why then you have to raise hands and you have to ask in front of everyone, right? So I think doubts are also bug. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just breaking this like a programmer, because that's how I think in my mind. But I think doubts are also like bugs. And what we did is, first class we taught live, second class we taught live, first batch, the whole batch we taught live, second the whole batch we taught live, and we collected all the doubts. And every doubt we collected, we then incorporated into the course itself, so that people don't ask doubts. By third batch, we saw there were no doubts. And then people themselves stopped coming to the live class. They said, sir, पढ़ लेंगे, कोई doubt ही नहीं आता है, आएगा तो पूछ लेंगे. So they realized that raising your hand is an interruption. It's a bug, and that bug free software is there. I don't need to raise bug requests anymore. And so we saw this happening in the third batch. We saw that more people are coming, like more people are watching the recording and still completing the course. And that's when we decided, hey, finally now we can turn over and we can say, let's do a whole recorded class this time. So we did 2 recorded batches after that. Both had good numbers, because there was no doubt. The session took a lot of time. Our sessions are 3-5 hour long sessions. Takes a lot of time. It builds slowly. But our first 3 months, after our first 4 months, our first few iterations helped us to write this bug-free lecture, bug-free software kind of thing.
Do you have some insights? You would have been closely studying the data. Like, what is the ideal length of a video that helps people to learn better, or any interesting insights to share around building a like an education stack?
Before getting into Invact, I did a lot of research around this. What is the ideal size of video, this and that, and there has been a lot of research. I published my own research paper on this. What I realized building Invact, and especially for my TG, I keep stressing that this is a different TG, is that there is no such rule. As long as you're engaging, you're giving breaks in between. So we have some very strong specs which we follow. That every 25 minutes you have to give a break. Every 30 minutes you have to crack a joke. So it is in the script that you have to crack a joke. That it shouldn't be funny, but joke hona chahiye. Right? The teacher needs to be funny. And we crack very lame jokes, like some memes we put in our courses, but that gives you a mental relief. So those pieces we did, right? Some piece of interaction should happen, some piece of, like class work kind of thing, where you also open an Excel sheet and you also do few stuff. You match your question and answers. So some of those things we identified which can engage you. See, if I keep saying this again and again, that my rivalry is not with education, it's with Netflix. We have to be as good as Netflix and better. So if a student can watch 6 hours of Netflix, they should feel like, hey, I'm in a flow. I'll just take 2 more minutes, because flow is a very interesting concept. You will be in a flow when things are progressively tougher, and not too tough and not too easy. But that's something you have to design in your course. It just can't happen out of nowhere. Just covering something won't happen. So that's how we design the course, and that's why you enjoy craftsmanship so much, because it gets progressively difficult. First you take a wood, there's a wood, you just cut out the bigger pieces. Then while you are making the nose and the eyes, it becomes difficult and difficult, and by that time you're in the flow, so you're enjoying every subsequent challenge. This sounds very superficial, but when you start designing a course with this in mind, and you do it every step, and again, our course is also our craft, right? We have designed that with so much love. We know that these things work, and that's why 3 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, it doesn't matter. The courses are actually 3 hours long sometimes, even 5 hours long sometimes, but students enjoy it. If they feel tired, they pause it, they went back, they come back, and they complete it. So that's why the completion numbers, the application numbers are so high, because I see a lot of rewatch also. I was going through the data. So wherever the application piece comes in, like you are putting something in Excel and you're putting a formula in Excel, people rewatch those pieces a lot.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. You said that Physics Wala has built distribution, which I believe for them is through YouTube. What is the way in which you are building distribution?
I have good distribution on every platform. I have 100K plus followers on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, everywhere. So that's where we are doubling down. And now the word of mouth is also getting stronger and stronger. So one student who did this course, the first batch, they went ahead and they talked about it in their college, in their stock. These people have these stock learning groups, sharing tips groups. So there also they shared that, hey, there is a financial analyst course going on. So a lot of people we got from there. Again, this is the power of good messaging. If you do good messaging, people realize this is serious shit, product is good, and these guys are keen on working through the kinks of the product, and that comes in, the virality starts kicking in. I wouldn't say it has kicked in a lot, but since we are doing 200 people batch over a month, we right now have 150 people already in waitlist for the next month. And these are 150 people who have completed 5 projects as of today, which is, I think, 14, 16 February, and the batch starting on 3rd March. So we are also not aggressively marketing. Like if you go to my social media channels, I don't like talk about Invact a lot, but
Because you
even
don't have
a little
the
bit of
capacity
this,
yet.
yeah, I don't have to fire the guns yet, but like at the meantime, I have like big 4 guns which I can fire at scale when time comes.
When time comes, what will be your monthly intake?
So the plan is to gradually increase month by month, and somewhere down the line, 2 years down the line, I'm planning to be the biggest institution in India. So today, the biggest institution in India is Amity University.
Yeah.
It has 40 cities and 175,000 students across multiple programs. My plan is to be bigger than that in the next 24 months.
Wow. Amazing.
That's the plan.
Amazing. And would you need to raise more funds to hit that kind of scale?
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Then, the question will come up, what is your monetization plan?
We'll tell them, see, monetization is a very simple, like just like I answered you, monetization is a very simple thing. Is there a propensity to pay in education? Yes. People pay. Is my course quality good? Yes. Are all other variables like acquisition cost, operation cost, delivery cost minimal? Do we have a high margin here? Yes. Do we have a big TAM here? Yes. Then monetization will happen when it will happen. I mean, suddenly venture cannot overturn and say, no, now we are not venture, we are public markets, because then the whole construction of venture will break, right? That's not what venture is. What venture is doing right now is it's going back to fundamentals and fundamental questions like this. Hey, can you operate at margin down the line? Is there a path to monetization? Is there a path to profitability? Those are the questions which venture is asking, not show me the money. It's
No, no,
not
no.
that. It's show me the money in future.
I also am not asking you show me the money, but uh, what's your thinking on how you could monetize? What could
There
be
are multiple ways actually. There are multiple streams which we can do. Either we can do the upsell piece which we talked about previously. I have also started thinking about just putting a very low cost on the course. Say the course can go ahead for 5,000 rupees once it is done. And 5,000 rupees, I remember me buying in 2008 when I was preparing for IIT a Resnick Halliday book for just 3,000 rupees. And I just solved like 5 or 10 questions out of it. So if you become big enough and if you become a cultural phenomena, people, every finance student, every commerce student, everyone will have like your book, and that book is basically this course. You know, ये कर ही रहे हैं साथ में ये भी कर लेते हैं. Why not keep an option open? So that at scale would be so powerful in a country like India, because again we started solving for a bigger TAM from day zero. So that is one piece. The other piece which we have talked to is hiring managers. They have told us, हमें तो 3 महीने लग जाते हैं. We take 3 months to train someone, find someone. If you can reduce that, we are happy to pay 1 month salary per person to you. So there are multiple monetization pieces which we can explore and we can finalize. And again, as there's propensity to pay both from industry and from students, I'm least worried about that right now.
Right? Amazing. Okay. Do you plan to launch more courses beyond finance? And what's the timeline? Like, what next in the product roadmap?
So product roadmap is first we complete phase 2. Then in phase 3, we will have multiple properties. Right now we are doing equity research, and we'll do credit, we'll do banking. So I think in finance itself, we have more than 10,000, 20,000 jobs to unlock first. And for 20,000 jobs, you would need at least 2 lakh people coming into your course every year, which is my target to beat Amity, right? So I think that is, once that is done, and again, focus is important. What we tell our students, go deep versus going horizontal. So we want to go deep in finance first. And then I think some of the pieces which we are building it thinking that we'll get into business analytics, data analytics, other pieces as well down the line, so that you have the same Excel modeling, same business environment modules being taken over, and some pieces we need to build. But for now, for the next few months, finance is the only thing which we are doing. We are going deep. What we tell our students, we do that ourselves as well.
Amazing. Okay. Do you think I should ask something else?
I mean, we can talk about a lot of things. I have been talking about a lot of things. I think we can talk about this vertical learning piece. We can talk about how this is a big TAM overall. We can also talk about how Invact will be positioned in students' minds. How a student will think about it.
On the careers part, the corporate connect or the recruitment part of it, how are you scaling that up? Like to build that out?
So one thing is we don't need to scale a lot, right? We need the first 100. Like this year, we would be placing, if we are doing a great job, we'll be placing 1,000 students. 1,000 is a very small number. Any KPO hires 1,000 in one go. So when we talk to some firms, I don't want to take the names right now because the deals are not finalized. When we talk to these firms, they're like 100 to hum le lenge. 200 तो हम ले लेंगे, 500 तो हम ले लेंगे. वो इतने like they are so desperate. They are saying भाई हम तो कॉलेज जाते हैं, we don't find right people, we have to hire them, train them. So आप भेज दो बस. मैंने उनको I just showed them their work, the current work which they have done, and like इतना कर लिया तो just teach them a little bit of DCF, a little bit of valuation. We'll take them. So that's every month we talk to them, we show them, hey, this is the progress. And they will say, this is good, just a little bit of this, little bit of that. And they are promising in numbers, like not 10s and 20s, 100s and 200s and 500s. We'll be lucky to be able to get those when people graduated. I think that's the bigger problem, not the hiring side.
And that brings us to the end of this conversation. I want to ask you for a favor now. Did you like listening to this show? I'd love to hear your feedback about it. Do you have your own startup ideas? I'd love to hear them. Do you have questions for any of the guests that you heard about in this show? I'd love to get your questions and pass them on to the guests. Write to me at ad@thepodium.in. That's ad@thepodium.in.